Hello there, it's the Variant guy here, and today I'm talking about Panamax. It's a game about all that profiting and investing and shipping, not necessarily in this order that happens in all the stuff that happens in the Panama Canal, one of the greatest achievements of our modern society. So, I could tell you all about the game, how it plays rather fast, considering the complexity of the operations involved in this game. How it of course, after you have a good idea of how to play the game. I mean, the first time you play it, it's a bit daunting at first. You may feel a bit lost, but it's once you get the things going and you finally understand the stock market and the market options you have, and how the movement or how fast and simple it is to move things around, and how how easy it is to acquire all these contracts. And it's after you have played once or twice, it's going to be a really fast game. And I could make a full review about it, but I'm not going to do that because we have so many great videos about it. I mean, we have Rado's run through. We have that gaming rules. There's a video that can tell you all you need to play the game in just about 7 minutes or so. There's even someone out there. I'm going to post a link right in the description, telling you about the Panabot, which is a great stuff that Dale Bonacor, it's this guy here. He came up with the Panabot for people to play the game solo. And so now, instead of being a game for 2 to 4 players, it suddenly is a game for 1 to 4 players. And it's an interesting game because it plays different in just about every player account. I mean, it plays different if you play solo. It plays different if you play the game 2 players. It plays different if you play the game 3 or 4 players. Personally, I like the game with I like the board crowd with many ships around and ships going everywhere all the time. And the game for 4 players, it's by nature it's a lot more chaotic. So if you have the opportunity, of course you should go for it. It happens though that sometimes you don't have 3 other players to play with, so that's where when the variants come into play, in my humble opinion, because not only you have the Panabot to play solo, you can use the Panabot to play 2 or even 3 players. I have just played a game using the Panabots with some minor variations. I'm going to talk about them in just a second. So and it plays really well. I mean, I enjoy it more playing with the Panabots, 2 players with the Panabots, than just playing 2 players. So first, the Panabot. You'll notice in the video I'm talking about that it's a half an hour video. It's a bit long, but he just plays a full round, showing you the Panabot and how different, how all the additional options you can, you know, you have a lot of ways to improve the Panabot's AI, and you should do that if you, I mean, that the first time you play it, if you have never played the game, you shouldn't do it. But after just playing some once or twice with the Panabot, you should definitely increase its intelligence and make it a bit harder for you to beat the Panabot. And I totally recommend you to use this flowchart instead of just the rules for the Panabot. You'll find everything you need in the file section on Board Game Geek. This flowchart is by Travis Hill, and you should definitely follow all the just as it was created. There is this other Panamax dummy player variant here. It's basically it's similar, but as it doesn't have a flowchart like this, I do recommend you to play with this one. But when you're playing with two players and the Panabot, there are some things I like to do a bit differently, and I haven't added. I have made this flowchart for myself. I just added this little box here, and what this basically does is it tells you to follow a regular setup, and basically that you instead the original Panabot version you cannot buy stocks from the Panabot's company. In this, for two or even three players and the Panabot, I believe you should be able to buy the Panabot's stocks, and when the Panabot makes a market option, instead of rolling, it's going to roll as usual. But once it gets number 4, 5, or 6, instead of just increasing the Panabot stock value by 2, you should decrease it by 2, thus making the stock market a bit more volatile, and it's going to sometimes you buy the Panabot stock, it's going to go up as usual, and it's a safe bet because you're going to have a bit of money at the end of the turn. The Panabot doesn't, no circumstances he's not going to pay you, but once he gets an executive action, it may happen from time to time that instead of going up, the Panabot's company market stock, instead of going up, it's going to go down. The stock value is going to go down. So you may end up losing money in the long run. So it makes for a bit of a better game, in my humble opinion. Instead of just having a dummy player that's going to move ships around and get the contracts you want from times to times, it's also another option for the market, in the stock market. And also another thing I like to do differently when playing 2 or 3 players, you're not playing against the Panabot anymore, so you don't need to track any money for the Panabot. He's always going to pay whatever he needs to pay, and you're going to play it as smartly as you can. So that's the Panabot for 2 players, and I'm going to leave the links, all the links I recommend, for all the videos I recommend you to watch before playing. If you have never played, it's going to be that video that will just teach you to play the game. and the Panabots for solitaire. And now you just know that I personally recommend you to play 2 players with the Panabot with some minor adjustments. And that's it. I'm the variant guy. I like to talk about variants for my and to come up with some variants. Sometimes I like to. Yeah, I believe it increases replayability, and I believe it makes for a richer playing experience once you start to tweak your game to your liking, and that's what my channel is all about. So that's that's one of my first videos in this format. If you like the idea, if you have any suggestions, I'm going to really appreciate. And if you really like the idea, please subscribe, and see you in a week or two and with another game, maybe a review, but definitely I'm going to be talking about some variants you can use to enhance the replayability of the game, or maybe I don't know, sometimes it just plays better with a variant. And that's it. See you next week or two.